Right, news just in: the Supreme Court, while responding to a PIL against Padmavati, has pulled up the central government. The Supreme Court observed, how can people in responsible positions holding public offices make statements on a movie which has still not been cleared by the CBFC? The apex court further noted, discussions within the citizenry is a different matter, but how can people in responsible positions issue such statements? The Supreme Court directs the centre to ensure that people in public offices and holding powerful positions shouldn't comment on a movie which hasn't been cleared by the CBFC. The Supreme Court in fact slammed the centre, saying that such statements create an atmosphere of prejudice against the film. We have Anusha Soni, who's with us on the phone line from outside the Supreme Court. Anusha, the Supreme Court, they're coming down hard on the central government.
That's right, Simi. And in fact, this was a petition filed seeking a criminal prosecution of the directors and producers of the film Padmavati. So not only that the Supreme Court has dismissed this petition, warned the petitioner that such pleas should not be put forward, it has also pulled up the ASG Maninder Singh and Narasimha Rao, Mr. Narasimha, which were present in the court today. The Supreme Court Chief Justice of India was very surprised at the fact that people in powerful positions holding public offices have gone and issued statements which are very utterly irresponsible in nature. The CJI also said that when CBFC has not certified a movie, how can people and politicians holding public offices issue such statements? It creates a prejudice in the mind of the CBFC against the movie, and at the same time, this also is against the basic principle of the rule of law. To me, in this case, the court couldn't have used much harsher words. The court was very categorical that, all that has been happening in this entire controversy of Padmavati, the sort of statements, threats that we have seen coming in from the politicians, it is completely against the rule of law. And that is what they have noted in their order today. As far as the filmmakers and Bansali is concerned, who was represented by East lawyer Harish Salve, it's a great shot in arm for them. And especially with the worsening political discourse around Padmavati coming from a lot of legislators and people holding public offices.
Right. Anusha, as you rightly pointed out, the Supreme Court, without naming anyone, has come down hard on people holding responsible positions. The movie, of course, has been banned in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Ministers of the central government have also been making statements saying that freedom of expression should be respected, but you cannot distort history. Almost an endorsement sort of coming in for people who've been protesting against it.
That's right, Simi. And, the court was of the opinion that when the Supreme Court of India cannot prejudge a movie before it has been cleared by the censor board, how can politicians or people in power make such statements? How can they prejudge? This is completely against the rule of law. This is completely against the existing statutes and the legal framework in this country. So the court has indeed made a very strong statement today. Also, asked the representatives of the government, Maninder Singh and Mr. Narasimha, present in the court, that this message must be communicated in as many words that such statements should not come. And the court is very clear that such statements hinder the freedom of expression. They also hinder CBFC from discharging their duties, free of any fear or prejudice. So the court said in its order today that, you are creating a sort of a prejudice against the movie before censor board has even seen it properly. Right.
Anusha, thanks so much for those details. We're going to keep coming back to you for more reactions on this story. The Supreme Court, they're coming down hard on the central government. They're also saying that people in responsible positions shouldn't be making statements like these when the movie hasn't been cleared by the CBFC. The top story we're tracking this afternoon: the Supreme Court, while responding to a PIL against Padmavati, has pulled up the central government. The Supreme Court observed, how can people in responsible positions holding public offices make statements on a movie which has still not been cleared by the CBFC? The apex court further noted, discussions within the citizenry is a different matter, but how can people in responsible positions issue such statements? The Supreme Court directed the centre to ensure that people in public offices and holding powerful positions don't comment on a movie which has not been cleared by the board. The Supreme Court in fact slammed the centre, saying such statements create an atmosphere of prejudice against the film. We have Anusha Soni, who's with us live this afternoon. Anusha, the Supreme Court not just throwing out that PIL against Padmavati, but also pulling up the central government.
That's right, Simi, and in fact this is a great shot in the arm for Bhansali and also for freedom of expression in many ways. See, the Supreme Court today was very clear and categoric in distinguishing that while citizens can go ahead, protest, have discussions over a movie which is yet to be released, that's part of the discourse in democracy. But people holding powerful position, people in public offices, people working with the government who are capable of influencing decisions in the executive, how can they go ahead and make such statements about a movie which has yet not been released by the CBFC? Using very strong words, the court questioned Maninder Singh and Mr. Narasimha, who are ASG for the central government, and said, can you understand how such statements are coming in? Are they even under the purview of rule of law? So the Supreme Court could not have used any tougher words without taking any names of any particular a person, a minister. The court has made it very clear that from here on, if there is any adverse statement which comes from a person in power from any party across the country, then it in many ways is infringing the rule of law in the country. And the filmmakers then can go ahead and find a legal remedy. East lawyer Harish Salve represented Bhansali and Viacom in the Supreme Court of India. And he has given the assurance that Padmavati will not be released even globally without it being cleared by the CBFC in India, because the petitioner was seeking a stay on the release of Padmavati in UK or any other foreign countries.
Right, Anusha, the Supreme Court has barred people in responsible positions from making this statement, yet this movie has already been banned in 3 films even before its release.
That's right, Simi, and that's, interestingly, another legal aspect which in the coming days we'll see. One has to understand that this is right now a charged atmosphere with elections round the corner. Even if the filmmakers were to approach the Supreme Court and argue that this ban should be done away with, the process of elections will take precedence. So what we are hearing from many sources is the fact that this ban is likely to be challenged in the courts once the elections are done with. So that is exactly the strategy they're looking forward. That's what we are hearing from the legal counsels and other sources, what they're telling us. Now, as far as the filmmakers are concerned, after these observations and also these comments noted in the order and a warning given to the centre, this is a huge relief for the filmmakers. One must understand, whatever legal recourse they take in the future at any high court, these comments of the Supreme Court, this direction of the Supreme Court is going to be a huge help for them. In the coming time, if this ban by the states is not revoked, in all likelihood, in all probability, this will be challenged in the courts across the country.
So these observations from the Supreme Court coming as a huge shot in the arm for the makers of the movie. Anusha, thanks so much for bringing us up to speed with developments in the top court.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.